What a show for you today. Notre Dame head coach and Esquire magazine model, cover man. Wonder how that's going over with the assistants. We'll get to that. But we're loading the photos as we speak. We have Marcus Freeman on the show today. Of course, Jeremiyah Love. Of course, we'll talk Notre Dame, the tradition, the rich history, the schedule for 2026. Joe Montana pouring beers at the linebacker for. We're going to get into all the lore. And we'll also chat with a first-round slam dunk, hopeful, Destructicon, incredible, the potentially superhuman D-tackle out of Clemson, Peter Woods, on the show. Big show. It's 9 days until the draft, and Marcus Freeman doing the rounds. I'm so Hamilton honored to have him be on the program. He's been on atop my wish list as far as college coaches go. As much as I love you, Lane Kiffin, Marcus Freeman, want him on the program, and Dan Lanning. Those are the two. It's 101A, 1A1, whatever that looks like. And you just texted me that he's become, I wanted to have a nice, clean, he's a model. Everyone knows it. And now, do we have the photo yet? We don't have it.
We're working on it. But yeah, he's just featured in Esquire as of this morning.
He was on with our brothers, Bussin' with the Boys. They were chatting. Listen to that. Great job. Go download Bussin' with the Boys, powered by FanDuel. We're going to get to a lot of things with him. I can't believe that we're 9 days away. Cal Filson, our producer, he's always excited when he's presenting like an interview, like something that he's produced and worked hard on. But today, I mean, he's convinced me that Peter Woods is going to be my favorite draftee.
Yeah. I mean, he's running through doors and cabinets as a 5-year-old. Can't wait to get into that. But yeah. And Marcus Freeman, I mean, you actually went to a college football game. You went to a Notre Dame game. Yes. That's how, that's how much power this man has.
In the rain. Did I line up to see his strut into the stadium? I did, in fact, in the pouring rain there at the beautiful Notre Dame. Curious to see USC not on the schedule. So I went to potentially the best game. Not only did Jeremiyah Love run all over USC, also it maybe was their last hurrah until at least 2030, if that's even a thing. But that's not what Marcus Freeman wants to talk about. He wants to pump up his draft picks. And it's not just Jeremiyah Love, it's everybody behind him. Jeremiyah Love, slot receiver, ? We'll get to that in a little bit. But let's start with the Cowboys ratings. Friend of the show. If I could tell you how much Brian Schottenheimer making his debut on Up and Adams, what that did to the alchemy of the production of this show. We might as well start with the Cowboys, like First Take does, every morning from now until the end of time, because he was so delightful and gracious. And I don't even know, he's like tatted up, but he's got, I'm not a visor girl. I hate all the coaches that were, he could wear one every day and I'd be eating out of the palm of his hand. He was unbelievable. And he sat down and I asked him what we can expect from the new look defense. And I talked earlier this offseason about how some of those, the new additions have improved there. But I asked Coach and he immediately went to Christian Parker. And now I'm convinced that he might be the key to the Cowboys' revival in 2026.
Were any of the thoughts about the defense going through your mind? I think maybe fans would like to hear about the focus, as granular as you will allow.
Yeah, I think yes. Always thinking about the team. I think it goes back to this. The starting point for us, getting Christian Parker. Incredible coach. Okay, it's so cool for me to watch our players come up when they're in there lifting, whatever, getting rehab, and they won't leave his office.
Really?
They literally will not leave CP's office. They come up there, they're just hanging out, they're just talking life, and he's into shoes. He's got like 350 pairs of shoes. He's got watches that I probably can't afford. His style, his style is just different. And so I think I'm really excited about that.
Was he a little boozy Susie? Loosey goosey on the show that morning drinking orange juice? He was, and we loved him for it. Okay, I did not know a ton about Christian Parker, I will admit, but the way that he was raving about him, that's the kind of, and in person it was even more palpable. I mean, this guy coached DBs under Vic Fangio, then Vance Joseph in Denver, Patrick Surtain, Justin Simmons, both earning All-Pros during his tenure, and then for the last 2 seasons, he's been the passing game coordinator and DBs coach for the Eagles under Fangio, coaching up a Super Bowl winning secondary with those 2 rookie All-Pros. And yes, as Coach said, this will be Christian Parker's first time calling plays, but he's clearly got something that works, right? Winning formula resonates with his players. He's got all of that tutelage under the great OG, meanie but nice guy underneath Vic Fangio. He's got weapons on that defense to work with now, and hopefully he'll snag a couple more next week. They've got 12 and 20, I believe, in the draft in Pittsburgh in that first round. Offense is fine. They're going to figure out Pickens at some point. This team could work its way up back into the NFC East mix, only if Parker straightens out the defense with what he hath been given. We've got Marcus Freeman coming up on the show. We've got Peter Woods coming out on the show. We're excited to talk to everybody on the program. I think Mr. Marcus Freeman checking in now, so we'll maybe take an earlier break. But whilst we wait, I would love to get into the Commanders, because the Eagles are going to have a say in the NFC East. So will the Cowboys if they, make this defense translate onto the field. But let's talk a little bit about the Commanders, because GM Adam Peters, let me tell you, first time I interviewed him, this GM was giving me nothing. I was doing all my best stuff. Couldn't get any intel out of him. But there was something that he said about last season that stuck with me because it was so honest, accountable, and vulnerable, I'd say.
What is one of those more specific sort of lessons that you learned?
I think a little bit, we lost a little bit of our identity and play style, in terms of, our standards and holding each other to the standards. That's all of us, myself, everybody. And so understanding that, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've been through this a lot, lost 4 Super Bowls. So I understand, you don't start where you ended up. You start, again, right back at the bottom. And if you don't have that mentality, you can get humbled really quickly.
So as I'm talking to him, Hamilton is kind of like behind the camera, and on the whiteboard he puts 3 Super Bowl wins. Like, why are you, he's focusing on these 4 Super Bowl losses and not the wins. I didn't do Hamilton any justice and say that to him, but that's the kind of sick pup that Adam Peters is. And I enjoy how he's looking at what happened last year and how he's speaking about it, and how it's, he's saying it starts with me, it includes everybody. Because like I said in the clip and during the interview, I think last year was a bit of an anomaly. Some bad injury luck, some roster turnover, but I like that they're not using those as excuses in the building, and they got away from something, so they got to get right back there. And it sounds like, that's not going to be the case this year, because they have recalibrated, and with that attitude and a healthy Jaden, the improvements they've made on the roster, I'm expecting at least a playoff appearance again in 2026. And that's a low bar to clear. I actually expect a lot more from them. The defense, you got to take a big leap. You got the 7th overall pick. That you have to hit on. I think Adam can. I don't know if it's, Marcus Freeman's Jeremiyah Love to the Commanders. Do we like that? Do we like a Cardinal Tate there? Do we, Commanders, what do we want here? You guys text me, you guys. Tweet me. DM me. A Ruben Bain? 7's so interesting. I cannot wait to see what Peter comes up with. Peter Woods on the show, by the way. Bit of a Destructicon up next. Esquire cover boy, Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman's not going to want to talk about himself or his NFL highlights or anything, but we're gonna after this. We'll also, of course, talk about the amazing draft picks coming out of Notre Dame.
I do love the Commanders as a fit for Jeremiyah Love.
Do we? The O-line, we're good on that?
Yeah, I think they've put a lot of investment into it.
He certainly would make it interesting in that division.
And him with Jaden in that backfield, good luck. With what he can do as a receiver.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to think about. And I saw something yesterday.
Is this man a receiver? Is this what I'm coming to learn today?
I mean, listen, those
I'm gonna ask
those
Coach.
clips of him running routes are special.
That's what we did in the morning
when they
meeting.
motion
I
around
could
in
not
the
wait to
slot.
get off the call. It was an hour and a half long, and I was like, I have a migraine this morning. I'm not into it. I'm crabby, as Hamilton will tell you. And he's just like oohing and eyeing, which he should, over every Jeremiyah. I mean, I'm a hurdle girl.
Yeah.
I can't explain to you what it was like being at the only college game I've been to, and I don't even know, since Mahomes was at Texas Tech, I think, and it went to like a spring game. To be there and to see that unfold between Notre Dame and USC and be like, who is this man running all over everyone? Every time I looked up, it was such a fun game.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, not just like from the like, I'm actually going to ask Coach this, like, what are you going to miss about him in the building? You know, like when that somebody that makes that big of an impact, that he's calling him a unicorn, that, you know.
Yeah.
Coach almost doesn't have to be out here selling love, you know.
It's true.
But I wonder what he'll miss about like the guy.
Yeah.
I've never met Jeremiyah Love. I'm excited. I think I'm doing the red carpet for the draft in Pittsburgh, I think.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
I did it last year. It was
Well,
fun.
that's still, yeah. Well, that's still, I think, and we're like a week away. Yeah.
When is it? Next week? I can't.
Yeah.
I can't talk about it. What are we starting with? Are we starting with the black and white photos? What are we...
Yeah.
I haven't seen them yet, but I'm excited. Is that what we're starting with? Well, somebody make a decision. What do you think, Ham?
I think we can start there.
Oh, let's start with I want to start with I don't know if you could hear me. 2009. He's not gonna like that either. He doesn't want to talk about himself.
It'll be fun.
Can you tell me the Bears? Can you tell me? Notre Dame football back in action, spring practices, and a very busy next guest celebrating his draft class, of course, and what's to come for his team in 2026. This is the 5th full season as head coach. 5 years already, Coach Marcus Freeman. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How's this media tour going for you? You've been very busy.
Yeah, they like to keep me busy around here. You know, we're in the middle of spring ball, doing a little recruiting, doing some media stuff, and we got a couple guys that are going to get drafted next week, and so it's a busy time here at Notre Dame.
Before we get into Notre Dame and everything in the draft, of course, can you take a trip with me back to 2009? I don't know, like what Usher songs playing on the radio, Lovin' the Club maybe. A young Marcus Freeman, what am I seeing here?
Yeah, it was my short-lived NFL career. I don't know if I've ever seen that clip.
Oh,
actually.
We'll show it to you. We'll show it to you again. This is your pick off Tom Brandstater.
Yeah.
What do you remember?
The altitude was crazy. Just being in Denver, and I remember, man, I didn't have a whole bunch of interceptions in college, and I remember being in the NFL preseason. I got an interception. I was like, oh, let's go. And you actually what I do know about that is my parents told me afterwards. They said we didn't get a chance to see it, or maybe they were talking about somebody else. You're talking about over 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but yeah, that was a good memory. I'm glad you showed that.
Coach, there's no broadcast call on the play, okay? Why? Because a legend, a Hall of Famer, Andrea Kramer, she was interviewing Smokin' Jay Cutler, on the sidelines. But let's hear the legend, Al Michaels, 2 minutes later.
All right, Andrea, just a little house cleaning here, because while you were talking to Jay, Marcus Freeman, a 5th-round draft choice rookie out of Ohio State, intercepted that pass from Brandstater, which was deflected off Eddie Royal's hands. So Marcus's family was sitting there going, I can't believe you're interviewing Cutler, and our son just intercepted a pass. So we got to give him his due.
Had you heard that before?
No, but now that I hear that, That's what my parents said they saw, but that looks like ancient film. It doesn't seem like that long ago, but that's
crazy.
bad quality.
Well,
Yeah.
10 years later, you're the head coach at Notre Dame. Did that young interception machine, would he have ever believed that?
Never. I always said I never wanted to coach. I said they work way too many hours. And then all of a sudden, 1 year in the NFL and it's over and you go, yeah, I think I want to stay around the game of football. And I got into coaching right away.
Yeah, did you ever think about a career in modeling? We have to do this because it's you. I didn't want to do it, but it's out there. This is you, rockin' Esquire coach. What do you got?
You know, they like to get me outside my comfort zone. That was actually, I don't know, maybe a month or 2 months ago. We were in New York and they said, Coach, we got an Esquire photo shoot. And I was like, what? Esquire isn't sports. And they said, well, we've paired it around some recruiting. So as long as it didn't take away from work, I was good with it. But you know, they asked you to do some unique things when you talk about a high fashion Esquire photo shoot. But it was really cool experience. I'm glad I did it.
How's that going to go over with your assistants? I don't think the players will maybe have the stones to bring it up to you and give you some grief about it. What are the assistants going to, when they see that? What's the group text chain like?
The assistant coach won't say anything. It's the players.
What are they going to say?
Oh, when they see that, they're going to ridicule me. I mean, it's going to be pretty bad. We always do a little a talent show in fall camp, and it's really an opportunity for our players to make fun of the coaches. So I already know those pictures will be up there for sure. Yeah,
I don't know that they're too young to even know what Zoolander is, but those are the kind of references that I'm hoping to hear from that young class. There's so much to celebrate, and we're looking at this clip. Thanks for indulging us. You know, we're an NFL show, and we're excited to welcome your class into our league. But I was just thinking about those 10 years, like 10 years later. I'm glad you didn't decide modeling or staying in the NFL or whatever that course is, because your team is unbelievable. And over these 10, I mean, Notre Dame's consistently in the top 10. I look at players that are likely to get drafted and welcomed into the NFL, and I see a lot of offensive guys. So what does that say about what you're doing there in South Bend?
Well, I think number one, we're attracting the right talent, guys that understand the value of Notre Dame and the education and what it can do for you, but they all want to be first-round picks. And I always say that those are the type of players that we want. And a lot of those guys will get an opportunity to reach those goals next week when their name's called. But then after that reward, they'll get back to work the next day. But our staff has done an unbelievable job at recruiting the right guys, but extremely talented football players.
Notre Dame outscored your opponents last year by 297 points, more than some schools score total, which is unbelievable. Yeah, I got a smile out of the humble Marcus Freeman. I love it. Let's move on to Jeremiyah Love here. And there's, of course, you've answered we've watched him. I've answered every question you've been given about him. I want to know and I got to see him up close in person, and I'll never forget it against USC this past season. What are you going to miss about the human? You know, like the hole he'll leave on that campus, in your office, in the hallways, the little moments?
Yeah, just the authentic person that he is. You know, you see the football player and the special talent that he has, but he's such a unique individual, a great young man that has an innocence about him, that just enjoys life. He is, I always say he walks to the beat of his own drum, and you miss him because he brings a certain energy to the people that are around him. And it might not be about what he says, it's just how he goes about his life, his business, and you're going to miss him. He's definitely going to leave a hole in our program.
Well, Coach, if you had taken the Giants job, you could have drafted him, and then you would have missed him so much.
That was the intriguing part, right? Knowing that you got one of the best players in the country that's going to have an opportunity to be one of those top 5 picks, and but I'm as happy as can be, but I'm excited for him and many other guys to show what they can do at the next level. Like Jeremiyah's a guy that could have got the ball every single play, but that's not what was best for him or the team. And so I'm excited to see when he's featured in an NFL program and what he's going to do at that level, because I know he's going to be really successful.
Daniel Jeremiah, someone I'm sure you know, a friend of mine, he keeps saying he could be a slot receiver, that he's like the best slot receiver in this draft. Is that true?
He could be a slot receiver. He could be a cornerback. He could be a safety. punt return, kick return. I mean, he's just one of those guys with a unique skill set that would have been successful in any position he played. He has such rare balance, speed, physicality, explosiveness, all those terms that the NFL teams are looking for. He has elite skill sets in all those areas. And so he just happened to be running back. He happened to be a running back that we could use in the pass game, but he could definitely be a wide receiver in the NFL.
I know, I was looking at, like, he had potentially, I mean, obviously the Chiefs went and got themselves a great running back in Kenneth Walker, but if he did fall to them, that they'd take him. And I'm like, how's that going to work? And he could just be a slot receiver. They can use him all over the field. That would be very scary in the AFC. You and these running backs, this program, you know, I don't really study these guys, so they come across my desk, and the Kyron Williams of the world who are crushing it on the NFL level, coach. And then you've also got Jadarian Price, which is really rare to have these two studs at the RB spot. Should we be calling Notre Dame the new RBU?
Well, we got to, you know, after losing those two backs, we have to make sure we continue this trend of great running backs. And then maybe you could do that after another year or two. But, you know, I think even before I got here, you think Kyron was at Notre Dame before I got here. But then I had a year with him who was just a unique, special football player. Audric Estime, who was the next one drafted, and now these two guys. A lot has to do with the offensive line that Notre Dame attracts. We have a great offensive line, and it's been the standard here for many years, way before I was here. And so to have a great running back, you got to have a great offensive line, and we've been fortunate to have a pretty good guys at both positions.
Who you got this? Who will be coming across my desk after this next couple of seasons?
Yeah, you'll see a guy named Aeneas Williams who he played as a true freshman in our national championship run that year. And then last year he got an opportunity, probably more so later in the game when JD and Jeremiah were out of the game. But he's been magnificent with the opportunities that he's been given. And so he'll do great things here. You got a young guy named Nolan James that he'll only be a second-year guy. Keedron Young will be a third-year guy who's coming off an injury. But there's a lot of confidence I have in our running backs room and especially running behind our offensive line.
1 year from now, when you're back on the show, hopefully, then I won't show any modeling photos, so maybe you do come back and don't write us off. I already know, big draft class, heavy at the quarterback spot. Why will I be talking about your quarterback as the top of the draft class?
Yeah, he is as talented as a quarterback as anybody I've ever been around and really coached against. He's got a gifted arm, but his intelligence, his ability to understand what he's asked to do and then understand what the defense is doing is superb. And lastly, the preparation. He's an over-preparer. He prepares like he's a 5-year vet in the NFL. And it happens when your dad played quarterback and your grandfather was a long-time head coach at Michigan. He understands how to prepare, and he's competitive. Yeah, he is.
I can tell.
Sometimes to a fault. Yeah, like I sometimes I go, hey, CJ, you need to calm down a little bit. But he is a fierce competitor, and you know that type of a competitor that makes people want to follow him, right? Makes people want to have him on their team. That's who he is, and he's going to have a special season. I'm looking forward to being a part of it with him. How
do you balance that? Because, I mean, as a young Catholic girl, I know the values, the tradition, all that, the program, I get it. But then he's like a little bit of a showboater. Like you're saying, how do you manage that? I mean, this clip from spring practice of him pointing at the defense as he walks into the end zone, I love this kind of stuff. But what did you say to him after?
I don't know if I've said anything to him after that play, but I almost shook my head because, you know, if I'm a defensive guy and if he would have done that to me, I might have ran over there and hit him, but and he deserved it. But they respect him, like they love him. That our defense and our offense, like they love that about him. That he's not scared of any competition, and he's using it in the right way. Right, he's using it in a way to energize those around him, to really elevate the play of those around him. And so we make sure we put a limit to it. But if you get a chance to talk to him, you'll love him because he's the greatest young man that you'll talk. He's just a great young man, great person. But when he steps on that field, he is a true competitor.
I would say, you know, you can't get tackled Relax, buddy. Wearing that red shirt. Like, get like
Humbly.
Respectfully, Mr. Carr.
Yeah.
I love that. Thanks for talking about him. When I went to Notre Dame this past season, and I walk into the linebacker lounge, which I'll ask you, have you been there?
No, but here's the agreement. I have an agreement with Shane Gillis, who's a good friend of ours and mine, and he said, Coach, if we win a national championship, you're going to go with me to the linebacker lounge. I said, we're there. You know, we'll get it. We'll go. I'll agree to that.
You're not going until then?
No, you won't catch me there.
Interesting. I think I dropped Shane Gillis's name at the front door. I've never even met him just to get in. So I walk in, and it's all the lore, and behind the freaking bar is Joe Montana pouring a beer for people, beers for people. And I was like, where am I? Like, where in the world am I? This wasn't my video, but I think he might be known to do this. I've read a lot about this legend's respect and reverence for you, and when you got hired and all of that. What is the dynamic between you and Joe Montana?
Well, I mean, he's the legend. As you know, when I became the head coach, it was important for me to not only reach out to Joe Montana, but all the great players that have built this program to what it is now. And it's been great to have him back, to give him his due credit in what he's done for this football program and the game of college football and the NFL. And we love having him back. You know, a lot of our young people don't know who Joe Montana is until we educate them. But you know, there's a saying we have around here is like, with tradition comes responsibility. And they need to know the history and tradition of the Notre Dame football program and great players like Joe Montana. And when they see him and they see how he embraces this place, it's a great responsibility for us all to leave this place better than we found it.
I think it says a lot about you that he was away from the program for whatever reason, and he wanted in right away. And I didn't know that. So you reached out to him. You said, this is important. I need him. I want him to be a part of this.
Yeah, I did. I was very intentional about making sure I reached out to him and a lot of former players. But, you know, again, Joe Montana is a guy that I really wanted to connect with, and we have a great relationship. And he's able to get here more than previously we expected. And so we got to keep getting him here. He doesn't love the weather sometimes in November. So we've had an agreement like October is probably the latest he'll come, unless we're out in California. But it's always great to have him back here.
What's he saying to CJ Carr if you show him that clip?
Yeah, he's going to probably say tuck the ball away and get down as fast as you can. You know, I don't think Joe Montana was doing much of that scrambling stuff. That was more of a Steve Young thing. But I think he'll love the more he watches CJ Carr, he'll love him.
Coach, I ran into Larry Fitzgerald, name dropping now. I ran into Larry Fitzgerald a couple of weeks ago, and then speaking of red shirts, here he is, Devin Fitzgerald. How did you sign Pitt legend and known Notre Dame rival from back then, Larry Fitzgerald's son? How did you recruit him? Yeah, well,
number one, he was a really good player. He was a great high school prospect. And it didn't matter what his last name was. Like, as you evaluate his film, we said, okay, this guy's really good. And then you get to know his father. I had met Larry previously through a good friend of ours of the program, Jimmy Dunn, that introduced Larry to the team, had Larry come and speak to the team probably in my first year as a head coach. And so I had a relationship with him. But the more I got to know Larry, it's funny, we were on, Devin was taking his official visit. And we were having a meeting with me, Larry, and Devin and his mother. And Larry started to talk, and I said, Larry, you sell this place better than I do. And it was an awesome meeting. But just, again, here's the thing. We have quite a few young players that their fathers played many years in the NFL, and not all at Notre Dame like Devin and Larry Fitzgerald. But I often say that I think their fathers are examples of what we sell here at Notre Dame, is that if you are good enough to go to the NFL, we're going to develop you. We're going to compete for championships. We're going to give you the best opportunity to have success in the game of football, but football ends. And they see that because their fathers played many years in the NFL, and they see that it's over. And that's where the value of Notre Dame, it lasts forever. The education, we say for forever. And they see that living example in their fathers every day of what we try to sell here at Notre Dame.
I mean, you have this knack, like you're saying, for recruiting, and pedigree matters to you. They're selling it. It's not just it's Larry, it's Thomas Davis, Plaxico, Jermichael Finley, Jerome Bettis, Brian Young. This, to me, I would not do. Want to know why, Coach? Because I don't want to hear from these guys about my son getting playing time, and they want to draw up plays. Like, what is that like to have those guys potentially in your ear about, you know, what, like, that sounds like a nightmare to me.
They're awesome. Like, they don't ask about the playing time. They as any father, they just say, how's my son doing? How's his mental health? How's his well-being? Is he working hard? And that's what fathers do. And, you know, now probably the biggest issue is how do we make sure we keep them somewhat protected when they're here for games, and, you know, let them be fathers, right? Enjoy the game and sit in the stands and watch their sons play. But they've been amazing, and they've helped sell Notre Dame, right? We use them often when we want them to talk to parents, other parents, and we couldn't be more fortunate to have them a part of the program.
I'm looking at the 2026 schedule this morning, and it came out, and people love to just say what they want to say, what they want to do, whatever. I'm hearing a lot. This is a weak Notre Dame slate we've got. Is this a strong schedule, Coach?
It's listen, this is our schedule. And it's hard to, before a season, say what's weak or strong. But listen, we got to get ready for this first one. And we got to take care of the opportunities that are presented to us. And that's what is important to us, and that's our mindset. It's not who we play, when we play, what's their record. It's okay. We got Wisconsin week 1. As I look at this, I don't even know. Now Rice week 2, Michigan State. But we get 12 guaranteed opportunities. And that's the reality of college football, is that you work 300 days a year for 12 guaranteed opportunities to play a different opponent. And so if you don't have gratitude for every one of those 12 games, then it's a lot of work for no reward. And so our guys are excited to play somebody other than ourselves. And again, we are as excited for this season, our opponents, the schedule, as we've ever been.
You get to play at some NFL stadiums?
Yeah.
Tell me how do you feel about that? Just being a football fan, playing at historic Lambeau, Gillette. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So every other year, number one, we played Navy with that rivalry. We usually play at some type of NFL stadium. So we played at the Raven Stadium and MetLife, and then now we're playing in Gillette. And then the Shamrock is what we call a Shamrock Series game, is the first game of the year versus Wisconsin. In Lambeau. I've never been to Lambeau. I've heard great things about it, so I'm excited for that. But it's a great opportunity for our guys to be able to go play in some of these legendary stadiums, and we're looking forward to it this year.
I mean, it's a compliment, I think, or I'm looking at this from a very macro level. I don't follow college, but you want the powerhouses to play you, what you're used to, the Michigans, the USCs, but you're very good. So it's almost, you got to get them to want to play you. How do we get these powerhouses to want to play your team?
Yeah, it gets, it's more and more tricky every year, right? With conferences going to nine game schedules, and how we can schedule our non-conference. We obviously have an agreement with the ACC for football that we play 5 ACC opponents. And so we know early in the season you're going to have to play some bigger and more challenging opponents. But we have higher-ups in administration that works on creating the schedule, which is, I think it's already filled out through 32 maybe. But again, sometimes teams drop out. They buy out games. Again, it's a puzzle that we work on, and we feel good about this year and years to come.
Well, maybe you should just take one for the whole team and take it easy on them a little, Put in a couple, lure them in, maybe bring that point differential down, Coach, for a couple seasons. Oh, we lost Jeremiyah Love, and then reel him. That might have to be it. You have to sacrifice is all about Notre Dame sacrifice. You might have to do that, Coach. Take it easy on them.
When you started, I don't remember what the exact number you said the point differential was. but that's how we started, and we didn't make the playoffs. So we got to do a better job.
You didn't like that.
So.
I could tell when I read that number. I could tell right away. I was like, that was a dumb thing to say. You don't want to hear that. You want to make the playoffs, and some might say joining a conference would help do that. But you are just there to coach against Wisconsin, and I love that for you and about you. I want to pull up the draft watch list for Notre Dame 2026. We of course talked about the running backs. Is there anybody else? I'm sure you'll want to talk about all of them. But as somebody who's in the NFL with open arms, fans are watching, what else do we need to know about these guys?
Yeah, we've talked about the running backs. Malachi Fields is a complete wideout. He's a really great player. We could have threw the ball to him every time. But again, as you look at Jeremiyah Love and Jadarian Price and some of the other players we had to spread the ball out. But he's going to do great things. There's two offensive linemen on there, Billy Schroth and Mill Wagner, both great players. Listen, I can read the whole list, but, I love those guys. And I think all those guys are going to do great things at the next level. But I think about the great men they are. I think about what they gave to Notre Dame. Some of those guys were here for 1 year. Some of those guys were here for 4 years and 5 years. And so I'm grateful for what they've given to this program, and I can't wait to see what they do at the next level.
We wish you good luck, Coach, and enjoy watching these guys on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays or even Wednesdays, I'm hearing now in the NFL. Good luck with your schedule, and enjoy celebrating the work. And just, everybody in the NFL is ready to welcome these guys to the big league.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Case.
I appreciate you. Sorry about the Esquire thing. I kind of took it easy on you, though. We'll be back after this. So much appreciation for Coach Marcus Freeman as he gets set with his guys, and we're going to meet this guy, Peter Woods, after this. Do you want to read the text I sent you?
What happens first? You play USC again, or you're in the NFL?
Or you're a coach in the NFL. I wanted, and Hamilton said, "Don't ask that." He's talking about 2032. Excuse me?
No.
Excuse me? You're going to be in the NFL.
Let him end on a happy note.
Did what I was saying even make sense about him, like throwing the team a little bit?
Yeah,
kinda. I don't really quite understand. And then when I said that they should just join the ACC, I didn't say that, but join a conference, you'd have a better. Is that not right?
With the way that the way the landscape of college football has changed, it's hard to get those top quality opponents without being in a conference now. Because,
he said that because the way it's going every year. But then it's so at what point does that push over? Losing Michigan and USC feels like maybe push is coming to shove. I feel bad for him because he's out here he's the spokesperson for it when he has nothing. I said this on the call. I go, poor coach is going to have to take this line of questioning about the toughness of the schedule. An impossible question for me to be like, is this what is he going to say? It's a tough schedule. And it sucks for him. And it's not just because he's Marcus Freeman that I'm saying this, but given the schedule they have, and it's a lighter lift, let's say, he goes through it like a cupcake and crushes everyone he's not going to get credit for that. They're going to say you had no schedule, you didn't have to play anybody.
Yeah.
And if he struggles against college teams, he's going to get, pun intended, crucified.
But yeah, that's the one good thing about the playoff with the playoff now, or the best thing about the playoff now is you can't win a national championship and have people question your schedule because you're going to have to beat those teams if you're going to get it done.
Right.
So you don't get into this situation that we got in with the BCS where it's if they walk in undefeated in the old system, if they had walked in undefeated to the end of the season, that would have been a huge dilemma to try to figure out whether or not they should be in the national championship. Now they're going to get their chance to earn it.
Oh, I didn't get him to say the RBU thing. He's good at not answering questions, and I'm like, sure. I don't press him on anything. Is that Shane Gillis story out there?
I'm not sure. I hadn't seen it. So
as we were showing that footage, I can't tell if I had a very weird experience.
flip. Arms, flip, good.
My next guest, first team All-ACC defensive tackle out of Clemson. I've never met him, but you're about to, and so is everybody in the NFL. Top D lineman prospect in the draft, Peter Woods. That's a dude there.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, he is. You seen him?
I want to see it again. Can we see that again and just get Peter's reaction to watching his own highlights? My entire control room is laughing. Tell me, who is this guy? Who's this dude?
Yeah, dog. You know, I try to be him every day. He just come out in between the white lines though most of the time.
You know what I think you are? I'm on to you. I want you to know, Peter. I learned a lot about you yesterday and today.
Okay.
Okay, we can stop. We can stop. Okay, we're done. We're done with this. Hello. I think you're an incredible.
Like a superhero?
I think you're not a human being. From what I've seen, I think this is you.
Claim that though. I claim that. I appreciate that.
The things that I have heard about you, my friend, bulldozing doors, cabinets as a toddler. It reminds me.
You talk to the right people.
What?
You sound like you talk to the right people.
Yeah. It's like when Jack is wreaking havoc in the house with the baby sister, destroying everything in his path with his newfound superpowers. You're getting drafted next week. Here's my question. That first direct deposit hits. You pull out what we old ladies call a checkbook, right? Or you pull out whatever, PayPal, and you're writing a check to your mom and dad for the amount of money in cabinetry, in broken hinges on doors, in home improvements. What is the amount of that check over the years?
I don't think it's going to be as much as you probably think it would be, but it's going to be more than I would want to pay for sure. Somewhere in the thousands. I don't think I would want to pay that for childhood damages, but it's going to be somewhere in the thousands.
Yeah, and I don't want to paint you as this guy who walks up, but it's your physicality is the point I'm trying to make. But the cool thing about you is you somehow learned, or maybe you always have this, you tell me, you've got like finesse to you.
Yeah.
Where did that finesse come from?
I've always been like big and nimble. Like I've always been able to like move. I don't really know where it came from, just God-given ability. I've had some great D-line coaches, great trainers over the years that have just kind of pushed that, as well as like strength coaches and stuff. We work a lot of explosion stuff. So I've always been able to, just kind of move different from my size.
For your size is crazy, the way that how flexible and nimble it's amazing. And it's going to serve you well in the NFL. How are you feeling? We're like 9 days away. How are you feeling?
Man, it feels crazy, surreal, for real. I'm just taking everything in, soaking the days up pre-draft, doing everything that I need to do just to, make sure I put my position to, change my life, change my family's life, and then ultimately change the organization. So I'm excited.
You're not coming to Pittsburgh. I'll be sad to miss you, and I hope to meet you in person sometime soon. Paint me the picture of the party. Give me that. Are you in Alabama for it? How much family's coming? What are you eating?
Yeah, so I decided to do like kind of a neutral site event. I got a lot of people in Clemson and a lot of people in Alabama, so I'm going to have it in Atlanta, kind of a bigger city, at just a venue, and NFL people will be there and my family and my close friends and stuff, and it'll be a good time. So I'm excited about it.
I'm excited too. We'll be cheering you on that night on Thursday. You're going to go in the first round. I have my thoughts on where you're going to go, but my producer told me this morning, like, your build is a 3-tech. But from what we can see, you can play anywhere on the D line.
Yeah,
so
I pride myself in that, just having that versatility. Every time I, get on a Zoom with a coach or anything or talk to anybody, they always asking me, like, how was it, making the transition from defensive tackle to defensive end? And I just answer with, like, that's all I've ever known. Like, it never really ever felt like a transition. As long as I've been playing football, I've been playing the whole line. So it's just been good.
Where do you feel most comfortable?
Probably like inside of the 3-tech, but I feel like I do some crazy stuff on the outside that, that people can't do either. So I just think, I'm all around. I'm a defensive lineman. I don't like to put a cap on what I can do, just whatever my team wants me to do. I was on offense a little bit. So.
Yeah, we'll talk about your running back skills, don't you worry. When you get these like Zoom, I imagine like your agent or someone on your team is sending you like a Zoom link with the coach.
Yeah. Before
you click that link, or like who's the coach that you've had like a Zoom with that you're like, I can't believe I'm about to enter this chat?
I think what I did is, I think I did when I did my meeting, with Coach Harbaugh, and when he was at the because he's at the Chargers now. I think that was kind of cool, you know, just knowing like how his college pedigree and everything that he did for just the sport for the sport in general. I think it was pretty cool being able to meet him. Never played against him or anything, or you know, got recruited
Peter
in college out of high school. So
I mean, I cover these coaches. He is the scariest to interview for me.
I feel like he's a great guy.
He's a great guy. He's not like mean.
He's talking just like this.
I'm just like, where are you going? Where are we? I just saw him at the owners' meetings, and I remember I went to my producers after, and I just made a total fool of myself in front of Jim Harbaugh. I was talking about pickleball and padel and all these things, and he's like, "Well, he's a unique personality." What was that interview like?
You know, he's just about his business. I think one thing that stood out to me is he cared about me and my family. You know, the things that I valued and that I hold dear to my heart. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to know what drives his players. So, you know, we spent a lot of that meeting talking about that. I feel like it was a lot less football. Because at the end of the day, like, what's on tape is on tape. You know, I've shown for the years that I've been at Clemson, that I know how to play ball, that I know the game, that I got a high football IQ. So it was just kind of just getting to know the person. I think I really appreciated that.
Peter, that is a great read on him, because that is what he cares about. And when he's talking, and I was standing with him, and somebody said something, and it was like a very popular thing to make fun of something, and he saw the humanity in it, and he clocked that somebody else said, it's a long story, I'll tell you another time, but that's exactly what he does care about, the human being that you are, and it is all on the tape, so let's talk about it. Whatever team drafts you, maybe it's the Chargers, maybe it's whoever, they're not just getting this elite D-tackle who can line up everywhere and can do some nasty stuff outside, right? They're also getting a punishing running back, maybe like the next, I don't even know, I'm seeing the fridge, that's what I see. I see William Perry. You see that? Have any NFL teams talked to you about using you as a running back?
I feel like it's came up in like every single one of my meetings. But, you know, you just kind of get a read on how people are talking about it. And it's most of the time just been jokingly. Like, you know, just like, okay, you can do this too. But, I mean, it's just been cool just being able to just showcase that as another, you know, reason that I'm versatile. So, you know, I don't think that's what I'm going to do in the NFL at all. But, you know, if they do call my number, I'm going to be ready.
I think you're going to score some touchdowns like you did against Boston College and Duke. I think you're going to... We
should start the petition and go ahead and put it out there and see what happens.
I'll pray on that for you. I love that. Football's not you're saying you're versatile. I hear you're a singer.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I do that.
You're the son of a minister. Can we hear a little something?
Wow. Let me think.
Well, Amazing Grace, maybe? Give me something.
Amazing Grace, that's what you want to hear?
No, okay. I don't know what I want to hear. I don't want to hear anything.
Well, I don't have anything in my head, so I'm just doing Amazing Grace.
I love it.
Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. I ain't did too much talking or singing today, but that was.
No, we all need the Lord singing. We need your singing. Yeah. I need you and Kobe Turner on the same team. Maybe we can get you to the Rams. Have a little duo there. That is so amazing. And it says a lot about just the fact that you just did that says a lot about you and the kind of guy I think you'll be in the locker room. What would your teammates say about you?
I think that my teammates will say, you know, I'm a tremendous leader. I'm a guy who took a lot of time to spend with my teammates so I could really get to know them. And so, you know, when adversity did show up or time for accountability did show up, and it will on every team, I think that was a guy that they kind of looked to just to, you know, kind of straighten things out. But I was also a guy, you know, who came in as a young guy, you know, had a lot of guys in front of me. And I feel like I rose the competition of my room and just rose the intensity level of the whole team, you know, the day I stepped in there. So that's what I'm looking to do wherever I go.
Your parents must be so proud. Your
hope so.
mom, a U.S. Marine,
I hope
thank
so.
her for her service. Everybody here in the
Yes, ma'am.
NFL will be cheering for Devin, of course, and celebrating you as you enter this next phase of your life. My favorite thing I learned about you is that these pitch meetings with your parents is so freaking funny to me. So for everybody watching, basically you grew up, and if you wanted something, you or your brother, right, Jermaine, y'all had to come with it and bring notes. I don't know if it's a PowerPoint with transitions, whatever it was. And your parents sat on the couch with a notepad, like you're in a Shark Tank, and you had to make a pitch for what you wanted. I'd like to know what your most successful pitch was.
Selfishly, I feel as if any time that I was driving the car when we was doing a pitch, I don't think we ever missed. I don't think we missed. But I feel like it was never an intention to really even ever tell us no. You know, when we were growing up, it was just more about like getting us to, you know, critically think and being able to advocate for ourselves. And just, you know, just have a plan. I think that's what I learned from that.
But I want to know, what's the pitch? Like, Mom, I want a new car. I want a new cattle or goat for the. You grew up on the farm, you know. Like I want a new farm animal.
It happened so many times that I just really can't even. I wish I could just pull one for you, but I don't think
Could you be a lawyer?
Yeah, 100%.
A lawyer?
I'm gonna argue to the dirt.
Let me tell you what my show group chat. All my producers are like in the control room. It's all. You skipped over the running back stuff too easily. Don't take that from us. He's so good at running back. What would you like to say?
Yeah.
Maybe make a pitch to continue your running back offensive skills in the NFL. My whole chat is lit up about that.
I would say about that, you know, just same thing with D lineman. Like I would expect somebody to draft me because of the type of person I am and what I put on tape as a football player. I put it on tape as a running back too. So come get me. That's what I say about that.
What kind of animal is the toughest to take care of on a farm?
I feel like it depends on how you compartmentalize them. Probably a horse. Probably takes the most maintenance. You think about cows, like they graze a lot. They're just in the field. They're very lackadaisical. As long as you feed them, I mean, you don't got to clean up their poop or nothing like that. Like as long as you feed them. But a horse, you know, if you got a nice horse, you keep them groomed. You gotta feed them kind of by hand, manually. Probably keep them in a more enclosed space. It's important that maybe they're with another horse, stuff like that. So I don't think it's super hard to care for any other animals, but I think horse, you definitely gotta have a lot more attention to detail.
I can't wait for the NFL fans, GMs, coaches to even just see this interview. From Amazing Grace to taking care of horses to making pitches to your parents.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
There's a lot to you. Yeah. You're very versatile. You're an incredible, like I was saying. You took a top 30 visit to Miami, right?
No, I didn't.
You haven't? Okay. I've seen you linked to the Bears, my hometown. Ravens, Bucks, and Chiefs. That's fun. Is there a team that you've sort of stayed in touch with the most?
I don't think so. I think right now everybody's just really just trying to, you know, figure out, you know, different things about me, about who I am as a person. But for the most part, like, you know, I had a lot of visits at the combine. I think I met with, over half the league, like 2/3 of the league at the combine, and they had a chance to get a really good feel for who I was as a person and stuff like that. So a lot of it has just been, you know, Zooming with the entire league and you know, just talking football, reading my FBI, and I feel like it's, you know, it's only helped me at this point.
A friend of yours and mine wants out of New York. Sexy Dexy.
Dexter Lawrence.
I know you train with him. What has he imparted onto you?
Man, a lot. I think the biggest thing I took from Dex is just his routine, how he goes about being a pro in his off season and his off time. I mean, that's the player that y'all see in the 16, 17 games in the league is built. I think I heard Coach Freeman say earlier, is built in those 300 days or 350 days when you're not doing much. And I feel like, you know, he does that better than anybody. The way he takes care of his body, the way he attacks prehab, rehab, nutrition. I mean, he's a 350-pound man that can move like that. You got to be doing something right. So just being able to get an insight on, you know, what his routine looks like and how he take care of his body and just trying to mirror that. I think
you work out with him. He wants out, so I want him to be happy. Let's say he gets out. Wouldn't it be wild if you were a Giant?
No, it would be crazy. That would be crazy.
How would you be in New York, you think? I don't know that you could have a horse. Maybe you could.
Probably not a horse in New York, but I have football, so it'll all work out.
I love that. I'm looking for your 40 time, and I can't find it. And I know that you ran the 10-yard split. Why did you only do
I ran
that?
my 10 split. I just ran my 10 split just because, I mean, you know, I had a minor, you know, hamstring tweak before the combine, and I just felt like, you know, with that top end speed, it made more sense for me to just run the 10 split, you know, showcase, you know, my explosiveness, you know, as a defensive tackle, and not risk any risk of further injury. And, you know, it paid off. You know, I ran a great time, man. I'm 100%. So
You're 100%, meaning like you could run the 40. A hammy's good.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I love to hear that. You and TJ
Yeah,
Parker, last couple ones for you here. TJ Parker, you guys go back to high school, right? You'll be, you know, the next great Clemson D-line first rounder since Dex and Christian Wilkins. When you picture that moment, hearing both of your names called, what will that feel like?
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be crazy. I mean, we talked about it on the phone, and I might get a little emotional hearing his name. You know, maybe even more so than mine. You know, just because of, you know, the things that I know that we've been through together, the things that he's been through personally, the talks that we've had just to get each other to this moment. It just feels like, you know, we've been through it together. We got through it together. So I'm super excited for TJ. He's worked for everything that he's gotten. And if anything, he's helped me increase the type of player, the type of person I am just since I've been around him. So I'm super appreciative for him.
If you're an incredible, what is he?
If he were an incredible?
If you are an incredible, what is he?
An Avenger.
I love to see it. I wanted to shout out also, you know what I like about you is I can give you love and you take it. Like, you're not like, no. Like, I like how confident you are. And you've done all the work to back it up. You're a leader. You already are making an impact on the community, which is a part of being a great NFL player. So you have these it's a skills and leadership camp, right? It's called Woo's World, P-Woo.
Yeah.
Tell me why that's important to you, why you did that.
Yeah. So Woo's World is an organization, foundation that I hold very dear to my heart. And basically, you know, when I was just kind of going to the drawing board, just figuring out like what I want to do from an outreach, philanthropic type of standpoint, it was kind of like I have so many. If you see, like, I'm passionate about so many different things that it would be crazy to just say like Woo's football or Woo for kids or just you know, specify it or keep it that simple. You know, because I care about the world and making a world a better place through the game of football. So just, you know, using the game of football to try and uplift kids, adults, people who are going through, single moms, however I can, you know, get my hands on how to help. You know, that's what Woo's World is, you know, for the world. But the camp, you know, is just, you know, I feel like what's made me a great football player is some of the qualities that I possess off the field as well. Mm-hmm. And so just, you know, not losing that type of learning. You know, some people just focus on football. But I think like developing your leadership qualities, who you are as a person, who you are as a teammate, how coachable you are, like all that stuff is important to, you know, your success, especially when you're dealing with like the youth, young kids and stuff like that. So that's kind of where the camp idea came from, man. Woo's World. Woo's World, amazing grace, and incredible, versatile running back. That's what I learned. I appreciate you. Good luck. Sad I'll be missing you in Pittsburgh. Enjoy every second with your family. Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you. We'll see you in the NFL. Take it easy.